Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here as we get set for our fifth chase race of the season, the fifth season of the NCAA Hersheys Cup Series. This is the second race of the second round of the playoffs, which will set us up towards our second elimination race, which will be next week at the Riki Raceway. But we're getting ready to go road course racing. I believe this is the last road course stop for these Hersheys Cup Series drivers here as well at the Lime Rock Raceway. Arguably one of the most favorite racetracks that I love coming to for road course racing. This track always seems to play a huge factor into the post-season scenarios, and I'm expecting no less here today. We've got two playoff drivers lined up on the pole position here today and the outside of the front row. As a matter of fact, you go back there, the entire podium is comprised of playoff drivers from this season. Trent Dunham on the pole position for Sega Motorsports, Anthony McCrury for Seth Cole Baker Motorsports in second, and Daniel Guilbert, who already has a win here in the playoffs last week at 2 weeks ago, I should say, at Indianapolis. He lines up in the third position for Michael Norman Motorsports. And usually at these types of tracks, track position is very, very important. And so for these three playoff drivers in particular, starting up near the front of the field could help them leave Lime Rock with a good finish. All three of these drivers come into this race currently above the cut line of 8th in the standings as well. McCrury is second in the points, Trent Dunham third, and Daniel Guilbert in 5th. So trying to follow up some fairly decent runs last week from Oswego, and I say fairly decent because Daniel Guilbert was running up inside the top 10 before getting spun out and finishing 23rd last week, so he didn't exactly have the greatest of runs, but still, as I stated, all three drivers are above the cut line. Joshua Michaels currently comes in as the points leader, and right now the driver that's currently in that cut line position of 8th in the standings is Dallas McIntosh. So we'll keep tabs on the 14 during the course of this race, and the drivers behind him in the points that are going to try and pass him here today at Lime Rock: Alex Drayton, Sean Gallighan, Benjamin Miles, and Charles Sandfer. It's going to be 40 laps of racing here today at Lime Rock, and I believe most years that I've had cautions off, here today we're actually going to have cautions on. So if the yellow flag does wave, these drivers will get all bunched back up and we'll have restarts. Also, we've seen this racetrack bring about some pit strategy usually. If we go into a long green flag run, we'll see if that happens. Let's go get that command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Now, Trent Dunham, not exactly known as a road course ace, but he does have a win at, I believe it was Montreal in, I think it was the Snickers Cup Series way back in the day. Anthony McCrury, very well-known road course ringer. And Daniel Guilbert trying to pick up his third win of the season, winning at FTF earlier on this year. Took the checkered flag, of course, at Indianapolis in the first elimination race, and now looking for win number 3 of the season. 40 laps of racing here today, so our stages are going to be 15, 15, and 10. Those stage points we've seen all season long, and here in the postseason, it's so important. Your points standings coming into this race. Joshua Michaels is the points leader, 5 points over Anthony McCrury. Trent Dunham is third in the points. He's 12 points out of the top position, with Dylan Young fourth. He's 21 points back, and fifth is Daniel Guilbert. He is 34 points back. He's actually tied for fifth with G Sydnor. Chris Dodd is seventh in points, 39 points out of the top position. And when you get to him, you start looking down towards the cut line as well. He is only 4 points ahead of the cut line, 8th in the standings, which is currently held by Dallas McIntosh. Then for the 4 drivers that found themselves leaving Oswego last week outside the cut line, Alex Drayton is 9th in points, 2 points out of 8th place. Sean Gallighan is 10th. He is 5 points out of the 8th position in the point standings. Benjamin Miles 11th. He's 10 points out, and Charles Sandfer in 12th place is 11 points back from that 8th position in the points. So everybody is still really within striking distance of being up inside the top 8 when we leave here today and head to Riki Raceway. And if the points remain as close as they are beginning this race, heading into Riki, it's going to be a wild battle to see who's going to be in the Elite 8 for the third round of the chase for the championship. But let's see if the road course ringers can step up here at the Lime Rock Raceway. Final time, these drivers will be making a right-hand turn this year as Trent Dunham and Anthony McCrury, a couple of playoff contenders, will get us underway here. Get down to that restart zone. Crawling to the restart zone here. It's a long straightaway, and there we go. The green flag is out here at Lime Rock. Let's roll. Saw Trent Dunham into the entry of this corner, kind of go to the middle groove to block the advance of both Anthony McCrury and Daniel Guilbert. Guilbert tried to get a run there on the inside, be able to pull to the outside of Trent Dunham to battle for the race lead right there. Couldn't do it. Guilbert now going to, I believe, take the second position, and indeed he does. Guilbert moves to second, Emmanuel Hartnett moves to third, and that drops McCrury from second back to fourth in the matter of a couple of corners. Smart now in fifth is up front. Daniel Guilbert trying as quickly as he can to battle with Trent Dunham for the race lead. Gilbert's got a win at a super speedway. He's got a win at a speedway. He'd like to have a win at a road course. Trent Dunham, a two-time winner this season as well. As Guilbert takes a look to the inside, going down here into turn one, and he is going to get the left rear, or the right rear quarter panel in this case. Try and take the top spot. Trent Dunham going to try and battle back. He'll have the preferred line into this corner, I believe, so I think he'll hang on to the top position for the moment. Gilbert going to try again, can't quite do it, and Gilbert might have actually overdriven the corner a little bit there, slid up, almost got over the rumble strip in that turn. And as that happens, Emmanuel Hartnett is starting to close the gap on both of these drivers, so we can have Gilbert with some pressure from the 83 in just a moment. McCrury still hanging on there in fourth place, rookie Cody Smart right behind him. Cody Smart, you know, we've talked about this season how it's been such a struggling year for him, but we actually should look at him as a potential favorite to win this race, because last season when he drove in the Hersheys Cup Series non-charter system, he had 3 trips to victory lane, and one of those trips to victory lane was actually at Infineon, so he knows how to win at a road course. Johnny Gardner there in the 55. We saw him at a road course, Watkins Glen, a few weeks back. Try some strategy to pick up his first win of the season. Didn't work, but he's up here inside the top 10. Cody Llamas right there in the 48. Last week at Oswego, we were talking about Kyle Mathews and the top 5 run he got being so important to get him away from the bottom 5 in the point standings, so that way he will keep his charter for next season. Cody Llamas is in the same boat. Cody coming into this race is currently 38th in the point standings. He needs to get himself at least to 34th in points to be able to keep his charter for next season. Of course, in the system that we've got here in Hersheys Cup Series, there are lots of ways to be able to get charters. More drivers preferably like to use the championship provisional charter, where the champion, former champion of Hersheys Cup Series, can use his championship provisional charter to get into every race, and that puts his charter up for grabs for a team to lease. A number of drivers have done that. As a matter of fact, you look right here at this battle for 4th place. That is actually a driver, a champion, that leased his charter to the driver that's trying to pass him for 4th place, Cody Smart, in the 12. There. Daniel Guilbert was making a challenge on Trent and now has lost a little bit of ground to the Rusty's Sega Chevrolet. Emmanuel Hartnett trying his best to close the gap between himself and the 4 in a battle for 2nd place. Trying to quickly look here and see the other drivers that have leased charters, loan charters for the course of this season. Already mentioned Cody Smart, James Richardson, the 11, currently on the charter loan from Kyle Mathews. Tim Walch is in via a charter loan from Matt Haas, and right now Tim Walsh may have to rely on a charter loan for next season as well. He's one of the drivers down currently in the bottom 5 of the points. Bottom 5 in the points currently right now: L Alvarise, Nathan Hudson, Tim Walsh, Cody Llamas, and Cody Smart. K Shearer He's currently on a charter loan from Daniel Olson. And L Alvarise is currently on a charter loan as well from team owner Chris Dodd. So for L Alvarise, currently on a charter loan, if he can finish in the top 34 in points, that team would then have a charter and wouldn't have to worry about a charter loan from the 88 team. Let's drop back here and find some more of our playoff contenders, because we've been focusing on the 1, the 4, and the 61. Joshua Michaels currently in the 9th position, came into this race as the points leader by 5 points over Anthony McCrury, and right now with McCrury running in 4th and Michaels running in 9th, the two of them would actually be tied at the current point in time, but that will probably change when we get to the completion of lap 15, because that's when the stage points are awarded, and McCrury would get more stage points than Michaels with where they are currently running. So right now, 4 of our playoff contenders inside of the top 10. Just outside the top 10, in 11th place, is where you find Dylan Young, 4th in the points coming into this race. He's got a rear deck lid full of Zachary Fitzwater's 59. Portions there of those turns. It was like Fitzwater was literally pushing Dylan Young through the corners. Dylan Young trying to get up there into the top 10 before the stage comes to a close so he can get himself some stage points here. Next highest running playoff driver right there, the 88 of Chris Dodd. Dodd's 7th in the points coming into this race, and he, as we mentioned, was only 4 points ahead of the cut line, so he really needs a good run today to give himself a bit of a cushion heading into next week at Riki. Sean Gallighan, first driver we see of the 4 coming into this race that are outside of the top 8 in the point standings. Gallighan 10th in points, 5 points out of 8th in the standings. Gallighan's very good at road courses as well. Didn't have the best of starting positions, but currently has fought his way up. Currently running in the 22nd position. What about drivers that a lot of the stuff was swirling around as far as maybe moving in, maybe falling out of the top 8, like Garrett Sydnor, Dallas McIntosh, Alex Drayton, Benjamin Miles, and Charles Sandfer? Where are they all at? There's Sandfer, just ahead of his teammate Jessica Shelton. Sandfer, who had that issue under pacing last week at Oswego that trapped him 2 laps down, and he was the lowest finishing playoff contender last week at Oswego. He's currently scored right now in the 31st position, so right now en route to back-to-back poor weekends. There's Dallas McIntosh, who came in with all that pressure on 8th in the point standings. He's back here, but so too is Alex Drayton just behind him. They are 34th and 35th currently. Garrett Sydnor way back here in the 38 car in 37th, and Benjamin Miles in the 39th position. Miles was the last car to finish on the lead lap last week at Oswego. Did not have a good run at all, and not having a good run here today either at Lime Rock. He had a pretty decent round 1, but round 2, the wheels have fallen off the Napa Chevrolet comeback train, I guess. As the top 3 right now have broken away, and we've actually had a couple of drivers move up into the top 5. Cody Smart's up to 4th, Cody Llamas up to 5th. Baskinger, last week's winner, is now up in 6th place, so that team has come alive all of a sudden. Joshua Michaels is up to 7th, and McCrury, who was currently in the 4th position a few laps ago, is now dropped all the way back to the 8th position, and now in danger of losing that. A couple of teammates behind him in Johnny Gardner and Quentin Moore, 9th and 10th, trying to take 8th and 9th, and now these two look like they'll battle for the 9th spot. Pretty good run overall for the Fitzwater Australia Racing cars. Fitzwater right there running in 12th, Moore in 10th, and Gardner in 9th. Up front, battle for 2nd beginning to heat up there between Daniel Guilbert and Emmanuel Hartnett. And And we should also keep in mind here too that we have run every lap so far under the green flag, which means that these drivers are going to have to start communicating with their crew chief about what do we do as far as strategy. And a lot of times at this track in particular, we see drivers, they come down, they make the green flag pit stop and think, all right, that's one and done, they're good to go. But some drivers usually we see near the closing stages still have to make yet another pit stop. So these drivers and these crew chiefs may not only have to strategize for one pit stop, but maybe, just maybe, for two before the checker flag waves. Of course, if we have a caution flag come out, all that strategy is thrown out the window. But regardless, you got to have yourself prepared for any kind of outcome. This is actually a very important battle up here at the front in more ways than one. Because keep in mind, we're in round 2. If you win a playoff race in round 2, you are automatically locked into round 3. And Riki Raceway is a super speedway, and we say it all the time at super speedways. They're wildcard races. You never really can predict what's going to happen. So with the unpredictability on the horizon, Trent Dunham, Daniel Gilbert realizing this, they want to be able to go into Riki Raceway completely worry-free of the outcome, knowing they are going to be in the Elite 8. Now both of them, as we mentioned at the top of the show, come into this race in a pretty good situation in the point standings wise, so there is every likelihood that the two of them could end up heading into Riki Raceway completely worry-free anyway points wise of making it into the playoffs. But then again, you've also got the benefit if you get yourself a win, if you get yourself a win in the race, if you get yourself a win in a playoff stage, that's an extra playoff point that counts towards the next round. That one playoff point, that 2 playoff points that you get for the next round could be the 1 or 2 or 3 points difference as to whether you're going to make it into the Final Four at the season finale or not. Speaking of stage, we're getting close to the end of this one. When we get to the line, there'll be 2 laps to go here in stage 1. Top 3 still single file, but they have now been reeled in actually by 4th and 5th place. Cody Smart and K Llamas have done a heck of a job riding together and starting to reel in the top 3, and they've brought some friends. J Baskinger and Joshua Michaels starting to close in, so we could have a 7-car pack up here battling towards the front of the field, potentially for the race lead. And boy, J Baskinger is a man on a mission. He's now going to make the move on K Llamas. That is for the 5th position. Baskinger picking up his first win of the season last week at the road, or at the dirt track, I should say, of Oswego. A dominating victory, led every single lap after starting the race in the 3rd position. And now we got a battle on for 2nd. E Hartnett has gotten to the inside of Daniel Gilbert. And this is a very important position for Daniel Gilbert because it's the difference between whether he would get 9 stage points or 8 stage points. Looks like he's going to get 8 at least for the moment because Hartnett is the new 2nd place driver. Baskinger has completed the pass on K Llamas. He'll move to 5th. Joshua Michaels now going to pick up an extra position here as he'll move to 6th. So that moves him from getting 4 stage points to getting 5 stage points. No, I'm sorry, from 3 to 4 stage points, I should say. No, it was 4 to 5. Don't listen to me. And Baskinger again charging towards the front, now going to go for 4th place on Cody Smart. Next time by at the line is the completion of our stage, and this might be the fastest car on in the racetrack right now. Jake Baskinger may be looking for back-to-back victories. And Dunham right now looking for a stage win, 10 valuable stage points, and an extra bonus playoff point towards the round of 8. And nowhere close is Emmanuel Hartnett to be able to take those 10 stage points away from him. So down the front straightaway, stage 1 will be complete. The pole sitter will lead us from stage 1 into stage 2. So Trent Dunham's going to get 10 stage points. Daniel Gilbert will get 8. Joshua Michaels will get 5. And McCrury's just barely going to hang on for 9th place, so he'll get 2. So 4 playoff contenders will get stage points here in the first stage of the race here at Lime Rock. Jake Baskinger continuing to fight towards the front, and Joshua Michaels has kind of had the benefit of Baskinger ahead of him because every time Baskinger makes a pass, Joshua Michaels is there to fill in the hole, and he bypasses that driver as well. So as Baskinger moves up, Michaels moves up. They both made their way around Cody Smart, and now Jake Baskinger going to try and get around Daniel Guilbert in the 5. Michaels more than happy to let Baskinger do the work and reap the results. Here he goes. As up front, battle for the race lead. Emmanuel Hartnett. The inside of Trent Dunham, side by side. Hartnett, in his 5 seasons, or I should say in his 4 complete seasons in the Hersheys Cup Series, has been to victory lane a total of 3 times. Once in season 1, once in season 3, once in season 4, and now trying to go to victory lane here in season 5. He will move on by and take the top position. In our first 3 playoff races, all 3 races are won by playoff drivers. Joshua Michaels, Dylan Young, and Daniel Guilbert. So far to start off round 2, we've had a non-playoff driver go to victory lane in Jake Baskinger. And right now, Emmanuel Hartnett trying to make it at least 2 for 3 in non-playoff drivers, winning here in this round. And the gravity of that importance is the fact that if a non-playoff driver goes to victory lane, that takes away the opportunity for a playoff driver to go to victory lane and lock themselves into the round of 8, as the battle is now on for second. Daniel Guilbert was not able to pass Trent Dunham when it was for the race lead. Now the question is, can he pass him with second place on the line? Looks like the answer to that question will be no. As Joshua Michaels now side by side with Jake Baskinger, that is for the 4th position. Baskinger not going to give it up without a fight, but now he might have to, because I think Michaels has got him cleared. Baskinger might want to tuck in line as quickly as possible, because Cody Smart got a nice run on him there, and I think thought about sticking his nose for the 6th position. Or actually, that would have been for 5th place. N Gonzales has fought his way up into the top 10. He was 11th about 10 laps ago. Has bypassed Anthony McCrury, Johnny Gardner, Quentin Moore, and now is up in the 8th position and trying to close the gap, and pretty close to doing that. He's trying to close up on Cody Llamas, so he's starting to get up into this fight as well. Emmanuel Hartnett. His 3 career wins coming in season 1 at Indianapolis. Season 3, it was at Eldora. I'm trying to recall where his win was in season 4. Let me look it up and find out, because I can't quite pull it in. You have to bear with me. Internet's moving slowly here for me. There we go. It was at another dirt track. It was at DuQuoin. And Trent Dunham make that little bit of a apex move to the inside there, going into the first corner. I think that was to allow him to slide up and block Joshua Michaels from making a move. Michaels is now up to 3rd place. And now Jake Baskinger looking to get 4th from Daniel Guilbert. I would say the 3 fastest cars on the racetrack right at this current point in time would be Michaels, Baskinger, and Brandon Gonzales. They have been the ones that have been moving up towards the front consistently here during this long green flag run. And now Michaels going to look for 2nd place on Trent Dunham. And that will move Michaels to the highest running playoff position right now in 2nd. Dunham back to 3rd. And here comes a hard charging Jake Baskinger. So now, with a new 2nd place driver in Joshua Michaels, let's see if he's able to close up the gap between himself and the 83. Michaels started off round 2 with an extra playoff bonus point after taking the checkered flag in the round opener at Chicagoland. Would love to be able to get himself a stage point, a playoff point here in this one, and still about 9.5 laps to go before we complete our 2nd stage. And the big question too is, when are these drivers going to have to come to pit road? I'm almost 100% certain they can't make it 40 laps on 1 tank of fuel. So they're going to have to pit at some point. The question is, when? Boy, things really backed up and congested here in this side-by-side battle for 3rd. Baskinger will take the spot. And Brandon Gonzales has caught this group, who just bypassed Cody Smart. That was for 7th. Now closing in on a battle for 5th place between Daniel Gilbert, Cody Llamas. And he will go to the inside of the 48. Brandon Gonzales, we keep documenting it every single week. That winless streak that he's on, the longest winless streak currently in the Hersheys Cup Series. He's very good at road course. As a matter of fact, his very first NNSCRA victory came all the way back in the now retired Mobile One Cup Series. And it was on fuel strategy at Sonoma. I remember that race very well. It was the number 53 Domino's Pizza, I think it was a Chevy. You had a battle right there for a moment between Emmanuel Hartnett and Joshua Michaels. Michaels was all over the back bump of the Dustless Blasters Toyota, but now loses some ground to him. Hartnett going to pull away once again. And if these two continue to battle, that might hurt their lap times and allow J Baskinger an opportunity to get up here and battle with these guys. So far this season, in our 3 main series, we have only had 2 drivers go back to back. 1 driver in Pizza X Series, 1 driver here in Hersheys Cup Series. Pizza X Series driver was just recently Patrick Curtis, winning at Chicagoland and following the race at I can't think of the track. Chicagoland and somewhere else. Indianapolis, that's where it was. And then here in the Hersheys Cup Series, Joshua Michaels has gone back-to-back, winning the regular season finale at M&M's and then winning the first playoff race at Chicagoland. J Baskinger, running in 3rd, would like to be able to win back-to-back races as well, as this side-by-side battle continues between Hartnett and Michaels, and Hartnett for the moment is going to hang on to the spot. Michaels looks low, can't quite make the move there. He was to the right rear quarter panel, but just couldn't get back into the throttle soon enough to get alongside the 83. Here's Baskinger all by his lonesome. Trent Dunham continuing to forge ahead, riding in the 4th position, but another fast race car right behind him, and Brandon Gonzales in the 23. Starting to close in for 4th place. Michaels has tried a number of times down here in turn 1 to take the race lead from Emmanuel Hartnett. Let's see if he tries again. Ducks low. Got a nice run there into the corner. But can he complete the pass is the question. Ooh, he's ahead here through this turn. So he might be able to complete the pass on the outside line through this left-hander. Let's see. Can he stay alongside? Yes, he can. He's got him. New leader, Joshua Michaels in 10. Set Emmanuel Hartnett up beautifully. And the caution flag is out for the first time here today on lap 25. So that may throw out any strategy for green flag pit stops in this one. Joshua Michaels, as soon as he makes the pass, the caution is thrown. So it looks like he will be the race leader when we go back green, unless, something happens as far as pit strategy. But there you have it. You saw the yellow flag being thrown. We are under caution, and this is a big break, I think, for some drivers that we saw towards the rear of the field before, to maybe be able to pick up some spots here, maybe do some strategy under yellow. They'd be more prone to do strategy calls under caution than they would under green, I would certainly think. And wait a minute. Are these? Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? These are the drivers that were running at the time in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Dunham, Gonzales, and Llamas. And it looks like they were the reason for the caution. Oh my goodness, we had a wreck right up at the front of the field. Or did we? Or did they come to pit road? They might have come to pit lane just before that caution came out. If they did, that was a huge strategy call for these 3. And they're probably going to pick up a lot of track position as a result. We'll document that in just a moment, but pit road's going to be open, so we're going to stick here real quickly and see these pit stops. But you notice there was no damage on the 1, the 23, and the 48. I think they came to pit road just before that caution came out. Huge strategy call, perfect timing there for all three of those drivers, and I think they could very well be lining up first, second, and third when we go back green. I think they're going to probably stay out here. Joshua Michaels will lead the rest of the field, though, down to pit road. And now we're going to have to see. I mean, do you go with a 4-tire stop? Do you try going with 2 tires? I mean, how much fuel do you need to be able to make it the remaining 14 laps in this event? That's the big question. I doubt that the teams of the 10, the 5, I don't think they'll be making any adjustments on the race cars. Those cars are bad fast. It was left sides for Michaels. They will do a full 4-tire stop for the Samurai Jack Honda Accord. Packet full of fuel. He is down and away. Question is, will he win the battle off pit road against Emmanuel Hartnett? You see the 83 there. Baskinger tried to win the battle off pit road. Here comes Hartnett off pit road. Drag race between the two, and it's going to be Michaels just barely getting the spot at the line. But my assumption, I believe, was correct. Trent Dunham, Brandon Gonzales, and Cody Llamas came to pit road just before that caution came out. They will restart in the top 3 positions. Let's see what brought out the caution for the first time here today at Lime Rock. We're going to take a look at this from our helicopter view based on the fact we can't really get a great camera angle over in this corner to see everything that happens. This is a battle just outside of the top 10, actually. Chris Dodd going to get stuck in the middle. Look at Zachary Fitzwater. He's going to drive it down deep to the inside on his teammate Johnny Gardner in the 55. Right there gets a little bit tight. There might have been a little contact between himself and Gardner. I'm not 100% certain. Gardner then slides up, almost gets into Chris Dodd. He tries to save it, comes down into Zachary Fitzwater, and he's going to spin around right in front of K Tellier. And you see right there, right underneath that concourse tunnel, which is what made it hard to be able to get a good camera angle to see what happened. But that little spin was enough to bring out the caution flag. And as we stated, at the moment that he spun, Trent Dunham, Brandon Gonzales, and Cody Llamas had already been committed to pit road. So they came down pit road, they got serviced, and they were able to stay out and be able to inherit first, second, and third here for this restart. But that's what put us under the caution for the first time here today at the Lime Rock Raceway. Now the lights are out atop the pace car. We're going to go back green, so the drivers that are just now coming off pit road are probably going to want to hurry. Because as the pace car indicates, we're going to be going back green whether they're caught up or not. So Trent Dunham out in front. Second place, Brandon Gonzales. Third place is going to be Cody Llamas. Those 3 had that caution come out at just the right time for them. Joshua Michaels' team was fastest on pit road there during the yellow flag pit stop, so they won the battle off pit road by a splitter over Emmanuel Hartnett. Michaels will restart in 4th, Hartnett in 5th. It's like 6th place is going to be Jake Baskinger. 7th will be Dylan Poteet. 8th place is going to be James McCloud. So a couple of the Tweenix boys popping up here into the top 10 late in this one. And then completing your top 10 looks like it's going to be Cody Smart and Levi McIntyre. Can't update where all of your playoff contenders are currently going to be restarting because of the fact the field's kind of jumbled up with drivers staying out under that yellow, drivers crossing the start-finish line with their pit stalls being ahead of the start-finish line, with other drivers having their pit stalls behind the start-finish line. So when they cross the line, we'll document you on where your 12 playoff drivers are restarting this race. All of your drivers from this event are still on the racetrack, still on the lead lap, and going to be taking this green flag with about 14 laps to go. So let's give you a rundown of where your playoff contenders restarted. We already mentioned Dunham first, Michaels in 4th. Chris Dodd was 13th, Anthony McCurry 14th, Daniel Gilbert in 16th rather. A long ways down before you find Charles Sandfer in 22nd, as Brandon Gonzales has taken the race lead away from Trent Dunham. Dallas McIntosh is 30th, Sean Gallighan 33rd, Alex Drayton in 35th, Garrett Singer in 37th, 38th, Benjamin Miles, and Dylan Young all the way back in 39th. 5 of our playoff contenders currently running outside of the top 30 in this race. Brandon Gonzales, though, out in front, showing the way now. Trent Dunham has slipped back to second. Cody Llamas there in third. You got to wonder, when are we going to see this 10 car start to charge once again? Remember, he had bypassed Emmanuel Hartnett for the race lead at the moment that the caution came out. So we know he's got a car strong enough to get to the front of the field. The question is, though, how long is it going to take him to get around Cody Llamas and Trent Dunham? Then he's got to get up there and challenge an equally strong car here today in the Mitsubishi Lancer of Brandon Gonzales. Already almost a full second gap between first and second place. Trent Dunham trying to hang on there to second as we are getting close to the end of our second stage. The proverbial white flag would be displayed this time, and then they would race back to the start-finish line. The stage points would be awarded here for this second stage, and right now only 2 drivers up here inside the top 10 that would receive playoff points. Dunham in second and Michaels in fourth. Next closest would be Chris Dodd. He's currently scored in the 11th position. Let's see if he can make his way by anybody here on this lap to be able to get at least 1 stage point here for the completion of stage 2. Cody Smart right now in that 10th position. Chris Dodd make the pass on him before they get back to the start-finish line is the question. He's looking. Not able to do anything yet. Takes a look there as the ball got the rumble strip a little bit. Chris Dodd going to look to the inside. This is a very important battle here for the 88. And I think he completed the pass. He did. So Chris Dodd will move to 10th place here, coming to the completion of stage 2. So 3 playoff contenders will be getting stage points here in this second stage. Dunham already crossed in second, Michaels in third, and Chris Dodd, you see right there, just jumped to 10th place. Battle is on now for the 4th position. J Baskinger all over the back bumper of Cody Llamas. Dylan Poteet, a late bloomer up here towards the front, along with Levi McIntyre. As a matter of fact, we didn't mention this, but Levi McIntyre is the defending winner of this race. Picked up his only win of the season last year at this road course, so McIntyre, not really a surprise to see him up inside the top 10 in the closing stages. But the race leader, Brandon Gonzales, has over a 3.5 second lead between himself and Trent Dunham. And we've got more of a blooming battle beginning here for second place than we do for the race lead. Michaels to the inside of Trent Dunham. That's for second, and it's over 5 seconds behind the current race leader, Brandon Gonzales. Just to satisfy my curiosity, I gotta look and see. Yes, Brandon Gonzales has set the fastest lap of the race. And I told you I thought the 3 fastest cars on track were the 23, the 5, and the 10. I think it definitely showed. 53.8, the fastest lap laid down by Gonzales, 54.1 by Baskinger, and a 54.3 by Joshua Michaels. So the statement holds true. They are the 3 fastest cars on the racetrack here today. Michaels now moves to second, clearing Trent Dunham, and now Jake Baskinger going to look for third. So right now, the 3 fastest cars on track looking to run first, second, and third. Emmanuel Hartnett has lost a lot of ground. Was out in front in this one not too long ago, and now in danger of falling outside of the top 10. One driver that is on the move is Chris Dodd. He's now jumped up into the 7th position. So a late race burst of speed here for the 88 car, former champion of Hersheys Cup Series, as Baskinger completes the pass for third around Trent Dunham. So now the big question is, Joshua Michaels and Jake Baskinger are obviously very fast, and they have now cleared any traffic that would have been holding them up. Do they have enough time to catch, and if they do, to pass Brandon Gonzales for the race lead, potentially the race win? The last time by was almost 7 seconds separation between the 23 and the 10. Let's see if that gap closes up at all this lap. And no, it does not. Was the caution out? No, the caution was not out. Okay, for some reason I thought I saw the lights flashing on the pace car on pit road. Brandon Gonzales is a man on a mission. And you go back to that pit strategy that took place with Gonzales, Dunham, and Cody Llamas coming to pit road just at the time that that yellow flag came out, and that's what helped Brandon Gonzales gain so much track position. He was able to stay out when the rest of the leaders came to pit road. It restarted him in the second position. He made very quick work of Trent Dunham, and he has set sail ever since. Brandon Gonzales, we continue and continue to document the winless streak that he is currently on, stretching all the way back to that Texas win that he had back in Season 2. Brandon Gonzales trying to bring that winless streak to an end. We had a number of drivers coming into this season that were on a winless streak be able to snap their winless streaks. 6 in total, I believe. But Brandon Gonzales has undoubtedly had the longest winless streak of any driver. I mean, put this in perspective. Brooke Allen has not been to victory lane in her career. However, Brandon Gonzales has a longer winless streak than she does. Brooke Allen didn't come into this series until last year. Season 4 was her rookie season. It's been since Season 2 that Brandon Gonzales has not been to victory lane, and the gap continues to increase. It's almost 9 seconds back to this battle for the second position. Baskinger, Michaels, Poteet, McIntyre, Chris Dodd in this mix as well. And again, things are looking like it will again be second straight race where a non-playoff driver will go to victory lane. So that means that no playoff contenders will be locked into the round of 8 heading into next week at Riki Raceway. That is if Brandon Gonzales closes the deal. Baskinger has now been able to gap himself from Joshua Michaels, so he's in second, but I don't think he's got enough time now to close up 9 seconds of distance between himself and the 23. He actually lost another full 0.8 of a second. Michaels trying to hang on to be the highest running playoff driver. The driver that's trying to run him down for that honors is the 88 of Chris Dodd, currently scored in the 6th position. Trent Dunham has lost a ton of ground. He's dropped back now to 8th behind Cody Llamas. Right now we've got only 3 playoff drivers up inside of the top 10. Next closest driver is Daniel Guilbert, and he's currently scored around the 14th position in that National Guard Chevrolet. He's surrounded by Fitzwater Australia cars. The 89 just ahead, the 55 and the 59 just behind. Move back up towards the front here, and here's still the best battle going on track. It's for 3rd place. Michaels has it, Poteet wants it. Brandon Gonzales had the flagman indicating to him 3 laps to go. If Brandon Gonzales can snap his winless streak here today, that leaves us basically with only 3 more drivers that have a 70 plus race winless streak in this series. Tim Walsh, Nathan Hudson, and K Tellier. As drivers like Dylan Young and James Richardson, Dallas McIntosh, Cole Baker, Keith Batson, and Chris Dodd have all snapped their winless streaks coming into this season. 2 laps to go for Brandon Gonzales. The fastest car on the track, the only driver here today to lay down a sub-53 second lap time, and showing off that strength here late in this race. Baskinger right now appears to be in control of second, so that wouldn't be too bad for your last two starts. A win and a second place finish. Michaels right there in third, came into this race as the points leader and will undoubtedly leave Lime Rock as the points leader. We'll have to see what the gap is from him back to 8th in the standings. I mean, we mentioned that no driver is going to be locked into the round of 8 with a win here today at Lime Rock, but it is possible with the run that Michaels has put together today and the stage points he's accumulated that Joshua Michaels could find himself going into Riki guaranteed to make it into the round of 8 on points. Poteet right there, great run for him in the 4th spot. McIntyre loves this racetrack, won here a year ago and now in 5th, and Chris Dodd right there in 6th. As you saw, the white flag was in the air, and we had a couple drivers that had to hit pit road here in the closing stages. J Sydnor in the 38 and Brooke Allen in the 3, and that's huge for the 38 of Sydnor, who came into this race 6th in the points and only a mere 9 points ahead of the cut line. But Brandon Gonzales, all by his lonesome, 10 plus seconds back to second place. He could coast to the start-finish line and still win this thing. The winless streak of over 120 plus races finally are going to come to an end. Brandon Gonzales is going to take the checkered flag for the first time since Season 2 here today at Lime Rock. The biggest winless streak in Hersheys Cup Series history has been snapped here today. I remember that Texas race very well. Brandon Gonzales actually won a pit road battle against, I believe it was Austin LaPlante. It was either Austin LaPlante or James McCloud. No, I think it was LaPlante. I had a whole big of a controversy thing of thinking that Gonzales did not win the battle off of pit road, but he did. And that's when he took the checkered flag in that win at Texas. It's hard to believe that was over 3 seasons ago. But here today, Gonzales, only his second career win in the Hersheys Cup Series, but maybe one of the most important of his career as he wins this thing here today. And you saw Alex Drayton in the 77 had to come to pit road in the closing stages of this race as well. And that is a driver who came into this race outside of the cut line, actually, in the playoffs. So, I said before that some drivers we've seen here at Lime Rock have to come to pit road in the closing stages, not strategizing well enough on the fuel strategy, and it looks like that was indeed the case right there for a couple of drivers, Allen, Sydnor, and Drayton. I don't know if the standings are official yet. They are indeed now official. Apparently we had to wait for the 77 to cross the line for the standings to be official. And so now that they are, J Baskinger will get second place, so first and second for his last 2 starts. That 5 team all of a sudden has come to life. Joshua Michaels will be the highest finishing playoff driver in 3rd. 4th place for Dylan Poteet. 5th for Levi McIntyre. Chris Dodd mentioned he got a big momentum boost there in the closing stages of this race to get 6th. Cody Llamas will finish the day out in 7th, and Trent Dunham will finish 8th. So those 3 drivers that had that pit strategy came to pit road just when the caution came out. They managed to finish in 1st, 7th, and 8th in this one. J Gardner, who actually brought out the caution for the only time here today, actually managed to battle back for a 9th place finish. So a great run for the 55. And J McCloud will finish the day out solidly in the top 10 in 10th. Where did the rest of our playoff contenders finish? Just outside the top 10 in 11th was Daniel Guilbert. You notice down there, Emmanuel Hartnett, who was out in front for a good portion of this race, he dropped all the way back to 18th, just ahead of playoff contender Anthony McCrury, who finished in 19th place. Charles Sandfer finished in 24th, so he was able to at least battle back from a dismal starting spot in the field to a somewhat better finishing result. Sean Gallighan finished way back in 29th, Benjamin Miles back in 31st. Dylan Young finished way back in the field in 34th. Dallas McIntosh, who came into this race with the most pressure on him, 8th in the point standings, finishes 36th. Alex Drayton, 37th. And J Sydnor finished the lap down, the last car on the racetrack, in the 39th position. There were drivers that came into this race outside the cut line Wait a minute. Where did Benjamin Miles finish? Did I mention him? No, I didn't. He finished in 31st. So Benjamin Miles, not a good run either. There were 4 drivers that came into this race outside the cut line. They were Gallighan, Miles, Drayton, and Sandfer. And right there, none of those 4 managed to finish inside of the top 20 here today. So it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to be outside the cut line, who's going to be just barely on the cut line heading into next week's race. But all 3 series are going to be back at the Riki Raceway. It's the first race of the second round for the trucks, first race of the second round for the Pizza X series, and our second elimination race for the Hersheys Cup series. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finishing results. These are your rookie points, your overall points, and your playoff points heading into the elimination race next week at the Riki Raceway. Till then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. The winless streak has been snapped here today for Brandon Gonzalez.